But my beats, they are hard.
Hello and welcome back to the BCSN Sports Wrap. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew here, and we're continuing our conversation with student athletes, recent graduates, current students who obviously, they are the peer group that we don't get a chance to hear from them very often. I mean, a lot of shows that we've been doing over the past month or so, we've been talking to coaches and administrators and other media people. And, I was telling AD, we got to talk to the actual students who, especially those who, their graduations were changed. And then, of course, we have all of the things going on in our society right now. I just wanted to reach out to whomever and however many we could get. And it's a pleasure to have on with us right now Thomas Lee, a.k.a. Snacks, from Jackson State University. He's a recent graduate of Jackson State University. And I will admit, Thomas, your moment of 2019-2020 actually ranked as my number 2 moment of the athletic year. So I thought just everything that went into your story, that game, and I think all of the positive publicity that went in after it is what kind of made it, for me, one of the things that I will remember most about this past year. And I wish it would have kept going, because I think, Jackson State and all the positive press you and Jackson State had received was going to be a good thing. So before we talk about that, welcome on to the show. And let me just start off by saying, how are you and how are you, your family, doing right now in this, COVID-19 pandemic that we're in, and just all of the other things that are going on in our world? How are you doing?
I'm feeling great. I've been doing well over this period of time. My family's been doing very well. We've been finding ways to stay active during these times, not just, staying in the house, but, finding ways around the house to be active and doing different circuits or different workouts around the house, as well as, getting out when necessary.
With let's kind of start with where we are today and some of the more recent news. Obviously, the world has I'm just going to say it flat out, the world has woke up or awakened. We knew certain things, but it seems like the rest of the world has kind of woke up as it relates to the passing of George Floyd and just all of the things going on in the world with different protests and things. And you as a young man and a recent graduate, what are your thoughts as you see things in your community? Maybe give us some thoughts on how Jackson, Mississippi, which is where you're at, your hometown, how are people in Jackson, Mississippi, reacting, and just your friends in your community?
Overall, I think it's just, beautiful to see the unity with, not only just, African Americans, but, those that encounter or have relationship with African Americans as well. I think it's, beautiful to see the togetherness on the social media platforms, to see of course, like today, the blackout day, and just to, to see everyone on one accord. I think it's essential in bringing awareness and, kind of bringing change.
Thomas, let's kind of get a little background about you. You grew up in Jackson, Mississippi, correct?
Correct.
Was going to Jackson State something that, or was that a place that you had always wanted to attend? I mean, were there other schools on your radar? Do you have a lot of family that went to Jackson State? Kind of give us a little bit about, who Thomas Lee was in high school and how he found himself going to Jackson State.
Jackson State, in my opinion, was mandatory. I mean, coming from being a kid that was raised around the HBCU environment, my aunt, taking me to different Jackson State events, whether that was to go watch the Sonic Boom of the South or, local pep rallies that Jackson State was having, or, a football game or basketball game, just that HBCU feel, just that, that college game day experience, it was like none other. So all throughout elementary school, high school, middle school, when it was time to have that college spirit day, I used to have, from the shirt to all the way down to the socks with something with Jackson State on it. So a lot of people often say, we know where you're going. So it was like a no-brainer. Honestly, I didn't apply to any other colleges. It was a few colleges that, like junior colleges, that wanted me to come and be a manager for my first 2 years and things like that. But most definitely, it was just Jackson State was mandatory in my opinion, and I had no other school, in my eyesight. But I look back on it with the different opportunities that I would have had. Sometimes I second guess and say, what if I would have took this route, or what if I would have took that route? But after looking back on it, Jackson State was one of the best decisions by far that I've made.
So it was Jackson State or bust.
Right.
Were you involved in any athletic programs? Tell us, what was your athletic involvement, career, or were you involved simultaneously in different clubs and academics? What kind of extracurricular activities were you in high school?
In high school, I was a part of the Beta Club. I was a part of the DECA. I also was, I'm a musician. So I did different events with the choirs, as well as live band events and different programs that they had at the school, different coordination. I was a part of student council. I also was a band member. I was very versatile in band as well. I played the tuba and the drums.
Do you still play?
Oh, most def.
Okay.
I've kind of put all of my emphasis in my piano now. I've kind of went that route now, so it's kind of became a hobby for me, and I really took pride in the work that I do on the piano. And I mean, it's a lot of course, high school, you try to balance 12 different activities at the same time, trying to be a basketball manager, being in the band, being in different organizations. So it definitely kind of helped me to have balance once I got to college.
So you were a basketball manager in high school. You were in the band as well, correct?
Correct.
So did you give consideration or thought to being a part of the Sonic Boom? I mean, was that something that you considered going into Jackson State? I mean, I know that obviously is one of the best bands in the land, and it's a challenge, I'm sure, to try out. What any stories there, or how did that not come to be? How did you end up becoming the basketball or working with the basketball program and versus the Sonic Boom?
Originally, my family, they wanted me to be in the Sonic Boom because my brother was in the Sonic Boom, and they wanted me to keep that tradition going. But I've always been the type of person that likes to ride my own wave, and I kind of had developed a passion for working around athletics and being a manager, and I took pride in that work, and just the environment of being that support staff, or being that encourager, and being the extra help with the athletic team. So they tried to get me to audition, but I wouldn't do it. I told them I was going to college to work with men's basketball, and I wanted my my free time, and I wanted to be able to be all in with basketball. So they had their opinions and I had mine, but now that we look back on it, they kind of saw the bigger picture.
You know, Thomas, I deal with a lot of kids coming out of high school, and I've always told them if you want to be involved in athletics, you don't always have to play the game or coach the game to be involved in athletics. And you're a prime example of that. Being a student manager, you've got student trainers, you've got people who just who are tutors for the athletic programs and different things like that. So your case of point is showing that you could be involved in athletics without necessarily playing athletics and be an integral part of the team. But I've got to ask you this one thing. Why basketball specifically? Why not football? Why not baseball? Why not any of the other sports? Because I'm pretty sure you sound like a versatile guy. You probably follow the other sports. You probably try to play some of the other sports and supported some of the other sports. But why you zero in on basketball?
Basketball, it was just a sport that always stuck out to me, coming from always trying out on different teams. And I tried out in middle school. I tried out in high school. I always tend to have a great tryout. It was like, I blended in with all the other guys, but, certain circumstances, you're kind of at a disadvantage because maybe, the coach already kind of have a blueprint or idea on what kids they want and things like that. But in my mind, I always said, if I didn't make the team, I would, still be around the team and be a manager. So once I started to be a manager, I developed love and passion for, being around and, helping out. But I mean, I tried other routes like football. I played football in middle school. I played a little spring ball in high school, but it just wasn't my speed if that makes sense. So it's just like I did different city leagues with basketball, and my teammates from the local high school team, they used to come over in the summertime to watch me play and things like that. So I always stayed around the game. I could always shoot, and my teammates often challenged me, and I would beat them sometimes. So it's like, I kind of said, I just got to stick with it. It's something that I enjoy doing, and I always want to be around it. So it was a just that significant sport that stuck out.
Do you see yourself coaching one day?
Most definitely. I coached an AAU team my 12th grade year of high school. Also,
What age group did you
my
coach?
freshman, I had 17U. I had 17U.
Oh, wow. So
It was
you was
called
actually coaching your peers.
right, right. So
Wow.
it was crazy. Actually, one of the players that I coached, he actually ended up coming to Jackson State, and he ended up coming doing very well. He won Freshman of the Year. He won Defensive Player of the Year. In his freshman year, he won All SWAC first team. So it was kind of odd seeing somebody you coach, come on to college and you both in college at the same time, and it was a different feel.
So you were definitely a student of the game if you were able to coach your peers. And you had to be well respected by your peers in order to coach your peers and get them to – I'm pretty sure you won a tournament or two, a few games there while you were coaching.
Most definitely. We won. We definitely won a couple of tournaments and won some games. We played in some – I think my first tournament that I actually coached the whole tournament, we actually went all the way to the championship, and we lost in the championship, but the road to the championship was crazy. We had one game where we went into triple overtime, and in the triple overtime, it was the first one to score, and we won the tip. And one of the guys, they probably had 27 points that game. They kicked it to him in the corner, and it was two people running at him. He just threw it in the air, and it went in, and it was just that feeling of them storming the court, and like you know what I'm saying? It was kind of a great moment to see, especially your peers and people that are around your age bracket buy into what you're trying to tell them when they know you're learning as well and they know you're young, for them to, kind of respect that and still buy into what you're trying to tell them or listen, follow through with your game plan. It's always special to see that from people of your age.
And you got a big smile on my face and Brian's face because we've both been involved in AAU basketball over the years. Both of us have coached high school basketball and coached beyond basketball. So we definitely understand that story that you're telling us. Maybe not quite as young. Didn't never coach my peers, but everything else I definitely can appreciate that you talked about. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, no. I'm just sitting here. I'm a little jealous because I wish I had started at an age when you did, Thomas. And you got me thinking about those early moments, that very first season of you coaching, and what that was like.
I had the pleasure of coming to Jackson, Mississippi about 2 years ago. Brought my high school basketball team to Jackson, Mississippi to play in a basketball tournament. And Jackson, Mississippi has a lot of history, especially a lot of Black history. A lot of people don't realize there are really two HBCUs within the metro area: Jackson State,
Right.
and then Tougaloo. You've got Medgar Evers House. You've got a lot of other stuff. If you could just take a couple of minutes, because you could probably talk on that for about 20 minutes, just the history, especially Black history in Jackson, Mississippi. Just kind of educate some of the people on some of the historical things that are there in Jackson, Mississippi, when it comes to us as African Americans.
It'll be if I was explaining, it'd probably take me a while, but
Yeah, I know.
we definitely have great tradition.
AD loves AD's a history guy. So I mean, he got, we can go on a history tour of Jackson, Mississippi here all day if if we leave it up.
I have in me the ability to make you a better you. So if you work hard, focus, stay on point, you can do anything. Trust me.
We made this track to tell everybody they can follow their dreams.
The Creole seasoning is a sodium-free and sugar-free blend that's versatile enough to put on anything. One of the first blends I developed more than 8 years ago, the Creole seasoning has an unmistakable aroma, a bold flavor, and a little heat for character. Every time I open one of these bottles, I hear trumpets and big band music.
For my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching say, make this for my people that don't get to see me, trying to remind you who you are, just like in Romans 3. See, we about to blow across the world just like a day that's breezy. This motivation for the people and this classic Bible teaching, hey, motivation.
Majesty is a premium health and wellness tea line focused on bringing delicious yet healthy tea blends to the community. Filled with an abundance of vitamins and antioxidants, we work to blend teas with exotic spices and fruits to produce scrumptious and wholesome beverages. So check us out at mymajesties.com. That's MyMajesties.com. My Majesties, an Urban Passport member.
Coach Wayne Brent was actually, he's your head coach, was there. He's been there since 2013. When you go in to sort of, when you come on campus and you come into as a freshman, kind of give me a little idea of what that initial conversation was with Coach Brent, and what were some of the expectations initially for you as a manager, and how did that grow or change over the course of the next 4 or 5 years?
Right. That was my freshman year of high school. He was at Callaway, and I tried to be a manager at the time, but they had no availability. So, I still, followed them everywhere as a fan, and I just stuck around like choir and band. But once my 9th grade year was up, I went to Provine, and they rezoned. And I didn't work with the team my 10th grade year either. I actually just, supported and stayed in the band and kind of just worked around with Jackson State, going to all the games. I followed them pretty much from, all the local games except for the Texas Roll Swing. I pretty much was at every game. And My 12th grade year, Coach Casey Burke, he was actually a player around the time that I was coming, because I had been around the Jack State men's basketball program for about 16 years now. But I think he was an assistant coach or a graduate assistant, one of them. My senior year of high school, and he told me, if I made the honor roll, he would let me come on and work with the team. So I had made honor roll, and he had, allowed me to come and be a part of the program. And initially coming in, me and Coach Brent, we didn't really just, of course, sit down and have like a meeting, but I knew the expectations of, being around a high-profile coach as Coach Brent. And, everyone had to wear their hat and come in, ready to work and, be all in. So over time, me and Coach Brent developed a great relationship, actually, from me being like a son, like his second son. His son was probably in, I think maybe 8th or 9th grade, and he would work him out early in the morning, and I would take him to school because we practice early in the morning. I go get him from school. Also, just being a help for Coach, wherever he had needed help. So we kind of developed, a great bond over the course of the years.
How many other student managers did the program have? Because I know sometimes that can vary at every school. How many other student managers are there with you?
We probably have anywhere from 4 to 6.
Okay.
Wow.
That's a good number. And so I would imagine by the and I don't know if they by the time you're a senior, you've got other guys who are maybe just coming in as student managers and things of that nature. Maybe take us inside the locker room, or take us inside behind the scenes. What's something that maybe we don't know about student managing that we might find interesting, or that basketball junkies might find interesting?
The manager life is very competitive, just as being a regular player on the team. We actually compete day in and day out with each other as well. Just trying to get the step ahead of being at the gym earlier than each other, or if that's trying to, with us, we have like intense practices. So if a player is diving on the floor, we're running to the we're diving at the wet spot, trying to be the first person to wipe the floor. Or it's a lot, man. As well as organizing late night sessions, coming back in the gym, the manager combos. Like I might be close to one manager, and we feel like we can beat the other two managers. Like we'll play 2-on-2 bragging rights, and after practice every day, we'll all play each other in King of the Quarter, 2-on-2, kind of trying to gel well before we go on the road and play other teams. On the road, we go and play manager games. We played Baylor, San Diego State, different schools. Santa Clara, we play their managers and reach out and play, real games on the day before the game. And it's kind of fun to see those guys doing the game and, kind of brag if you won, or just, interact with other managers as well to kind of get that experience.
Yeah, no, I definitely heard that the student manager games are definitely very competitive and very spirited.
All right, Thomas. Here's the question of the day. Where did the nickname come from?
The nickname originally came from my early years of being around the basketball program. I often got to the games kind of early, so I used to always have my food with me and sit in the locker room waiting on the players to get there. And over the course of the years, no one really ever knew my name, but I always had this ritual with the team where I give them Skittles before the game, 3-pack of Skittles every game, and they're divided throughout the team. And it kind of became a tradition. And I did it all the way throughout college. And once it was probably that 3rd or 4th year, they were like, we got to get this guy a name. And they gave me snacks. And it kind of got popular from there.
Because you always had the snacks. And by the way, when I was coaching, Skittles was always my go-to candy also. So I appreciate that, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, thinking back on that moment where, you finally got a chance to dress out and go to that game, do you just, you know, maybe on a drive home or maybe just at night, do you replay some of the events of that night in your head every now and then?
Oh, most definitely. I probably watched that video about anywhere from probably hundreds of times. I often watch the Today Show interview. I watched the different other interviews that I had with some, you know, major media outlets. I probably watch The Shot almost every day, if not every other day. I also watched the interview, you know, that they, you know, when they interviewed Coach Brent. I also been trying to get some footage of the HBCU, not the HBCU, but the ESPN College Game Day. It was kind of like a interview with coach and my teammates. I've been trying to get that as well. So it's a lot of different content that I look at in a day in and day out basis.
Tell us something about the moment. I mean, I'm telling you, I get a chill every time I watch it. I'm just being honest. It's one of those really cool moments. And that's why I said I made it one of my number 2 moment of the sports year.
What was the number 1 moment?
Well, the number 1 moment for me, I actually called it was Bethune-Cookman's win over FAMU at the end of the year. And the reason I chose that one is because I think it impacted the Black College National Championship debate.
Okay.
And you know, they beat them for the 9th year in a row, and it was just, and that was the 3rd straight year FAMU had lost the way they did. So I mean, but you know, had FAMU won that game or had that game been a blowout by Bethune, your moment would have easily been number 1. So
okay.
I'll just be honest. So I tell us something that you, maybe if you look back at that video, maybe something that you saw in the video of that moment that you kind of laughed at or you didn't know you did.
Probably two different moments that stuck out to me was one of my teammates was sitting behind the bench. He jumped over all the benches and he actually ran out onto the court in his jogging pants and hoodie. And
Cost you a technical foul.
Right. And another one would probably be when my teammate Roland Griffin, I was celebrating, and I think the first time he tried to hype me up and push me a little bit, but he kind of struggled to push me. And it was like maybe he felt like, oh man, I can't go out like this. And he came back again and pushed me, and I went super far. And it was like in the heat of the moment, you know, we were just so excited, man. I just sat on the other end interacting with the fans. So those definitely some moments that stick out to me.
And then among all your interviews, you know, I watched the Today interview where you went to New York for that. Which interview or maybe trip that you went on, I don't know if you went anywhere other than New York, but what interview kind of stands out the most with you?
The most by far would be the Today Show, to see the love and support from the fans and to see, you know, the different, you know, supporters and just, you know, recognition, and to be able to get the autographed jersey and the tickets to the game and to walk down to get ready. You know, our school song, it was amazing. It was amazing. Most definitely amazing.
Have you got a chance to use those tickets yet? I know not too long after
I plan on using them for next year once Kevin Durant plays.
Yeah, because the COVID, not too long after you had your interview up there, the COVID crisis hit us. So I didn't think you had a chance to use them yet. All right. Now, what was your major at Jackson State, Thomas?
Recreation administration.
All right. Now, with everything that's going on with the COVID-19, that, you know, how tough has it been, not only for you, but for people who graduated this year, trying to figure out their way into the work? Talk about that.
A lot of opportunities have been cut short, but I've definitely still had the ability to network and collaborate with other companies as well to kind of, you know, do different projects. So it's had its highs, it's had its lows. I just been trying to stay level-headed and positive and not, you know, try to, you know, think too much on it.
Short-term goals, long-term goals for yourself professionally?
Short-term goals, probably just to continue to build my brand and continue to market myself and continue to develop, promote that positive image that maybe, have low confidence or, target those people that may be down on themselves and not believe in themselves to target their audience. Long-term goals include, of course, coaching, having my own team one day, maybe coming back and coaching at Jackson State. It's a long-term goal of mine, one day being the athletic director at Jackson State. So that's definitely a goal of mine.
That means we got to start working on that master's and that PhD to put yourself in position for that.
Most definitely.
Hey, before we let you go, Thomas, I appreciate you taking time. I noticed you've been doing a lot of workout videos. It seems like you've been either just personally training for your own health benefits, or are you getting ready for something big? Tell us a little bit about what's kind of inspired you or what's got you working out these days.
I just decided to take a different approach on health and wellness. I've been, just deciding to just, continue to better myself mentally, physically, emotionally, socially. Just, trying to just be better and do better, eat better, develop a better, just sense of urgency of my health, as well as, continuing to keep myself in tip-top shape, because I never know what opportunity may present themselves. And I still want to be around the game, and you never know what opportunity may come through and happen with, of course, being able to maybe, play on another team, or maybe, do some projects with other viral celebrities as well.
Well, definitely. I mean, you're a great follow. We're pleased that you actually follow us. We follow each other on the BCSN. Give it to people. Where can the people follow you on social media? Where are you at? Go ahead and give yourself some plugs.
They can follow me on all my platforms at BigHomie_Tom, BIGHOMIE_TOM. And they can follow me on Facebook at Thomas Lee.
All right, sounds good. And as you go forward, are you going to keep the snacks, or are we going to graduate to something else? Or are we going to leave snacks in the college years? What are you going to do with that?
At the moment, I'm just, continuing to just build a snacks brand. So it's kind of the plan for right now.
All right, man. Well, look, I hope that as things get back up and running in the world, that you continue to grow your brand. I mean, you're a great role model for young people. You got a great story to tell. And, we appreciate you coming on and spending some time to talk with us. And, again, much success to you. And anytime you've got something going on, anytime you want to talk, we got a platform for you. Let us know, and we'd love to have you tell us about it, all right?
Most definitely. I appreciate you guys taking time out today to give me a chance to share my story.
All right.
All right. We appreciate you talking to us.
God bless, Thomas. Take care of yourself now.
Same here.
All right. We'll be back right after this with more conversations with student athletes. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. Let me get that out. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap with Bryan and A.D. We'll be back right after these words.
Industry was hurting, but I done bandaged her up. Now I got too sick with it. Now we done found us an abrupt sound. Look, I be tearing the speakers up and we shaking the whole ground. Found pros in this profession, we calling that profound. Studio in every city, I'm calling that yo town. Some of these words that I'm using make me wanna throw down, but I got humbled in my veins and learned to tone it down. Major league when I'm pitching, I'm needing the pitchers, man. Shake the room with my powers and knocking the pitches down. Trying to teach you business first and put your pitches down. Yo, Major.
But my beats, they are hard.